Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. I am Arshdeep Kaur. As you already know that we have been preparing for SEBI Grade A Legal examination. We have completed the securities laws and we have also done one video on the Constitution. Now today I am here with another video on the Constitution itself. Constitution has been given 20% weightage and it is very important and it is a scoring subject. So please pay attention to these questions. These all are important questions. These all are the important provisions that we are covering through MCQs. Before I start, I would like to tell you that EduTap is coming up with test series for both the phases, phase 1 and phase 2. It will include the chapter-wise test, the sectional test and the full-length tests. Also, EduTap is coming up with live crash course and it is also for both phase 1 and phase 2. We will be having 60 plus live sessions and these live sessions will be 2 hours each. They will include the test series I just mentioned and you also get one-on-one mentor support. So those of you who have not availed the limited time offer can avail it and you can refer to the link in the description below. Right? Let's begin with our lecture. The fundamental duties in the Constitution of India were adopted from USSR Constitution, Canadian Constitution, USA Constitution, French Constitution or Irish Constitution. Fundamental duties have mostly been given importance in the communist setup, right? In a democratic setup, fundamental duties have not been given much importance. Like if we talk about other democracies also, big democracies like Canada, USA, Germany, France, they don't have fundamental duties. Fundamental duties generally find place in a communism, right? So in this case, it is the USSR. The USSR constitution, we have adopted the fundamental duties from there, right? Answer is option C. The concept of fundamental duties was adopted from the Soviet constitution, which is now called Russia. And the fundamental duties, they were added by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, and at that time in 1976 they added 10 fundamental duties. Today they are 11, but at that time they added 10 fundamental duties. One was added later on. Today there are 11 fundamental duties. Question number 2. How many duties were in the original constitution when the constitution was created? So this question is that when the constitution was created, they are not asking in 1976 after the 42nd amendment, no, they are asking when it was inaugurated, when it was created, like that means in 1950. So there were 0 fundamental duties because fundamental duties were added by the 42nd Amendment Act, right? Today there are 11 fundamental duties described under Article 51A, of which 10 were introduced by the 42nd Amendment Act and the 11th one was added by the 86th Amendment Act in 2002. Before amendment in the original constitution, it wasn't there, so the answer will be 0. So there were 0 fundamental duties when the constitution came into force. Question number 3. The joint sitting of Indian Parliament for transacting a legislative business is presided over by. Is it the President of India, senior most member of the Parliament, Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Speaker of the Lok Sabha or the Chief Justice of India? So the answer is Speaker of the Lok Sabha. In case there is a joint session for legislative business, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha will preside for such a session. Right? Let's read it. Answer is option D. Each House of Parliament may make rules for regulating subject to the provisions of this constitution, its procedure and conduct of its business. So this power is vested with the Parliament. The President, after consultation with the Chairman of the Council of States and the Speaker of the House of the People, may make rules as to the procedure with respect to the joint sittings, right? Joint sittings and communication between the two houses. So the President has been given this power with consultation of the Chairman of the House of State and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. At a joint sitting of the two houses, the Speaker of the House of People or in his absence such person as may be determined by rules of procedure made under clause 3 shall preside. So who is it? It is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. Question number 4. Who administers the oath of office to the President? So who administers the oath to the President? So the answer is option D, the Chief Justice of India. Let's read it. Every president and every person acting as president or discharging the functions of the president shall before entering upon his office. So it covers even the president, the acting president, and any person who is discharging his functions as president, right? So all of these are covered. Make and subscribe in the presence of the Chief Justice of India. It will be the Chief Justice of India, or in his absence, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court, available on oath or affirmation. So generally it is the Chief Justice of India, but just in case the Chief Justice of India is not available, who is it? The senior most judge of the Supreme Court. And also, who administers the oath to the vice president? It is president or some other person on his behalf, right? It is either the president or some other person in his behalf. So the answer to this was the Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice, or in his absence, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court. Question number 5. Besides its permanent seat at Delhi, the Supreme Court can also meet at. So the Supreme Court, the permanent seat is at Delhi. And where else they can meet? Any other place as decided by the Chief Justice of India in consultation with the President, any other metropolitan city, any other union territory, any other area near Delhi NCR, any major city. The answer is option A, any other place as decided by the Chief Justice of India in consultation with the President. Seat of Supreme Court. The Supreme Court shall sit in Delhi or in such other places or place as the Chief Justice of India may, with the approval of the President, from time to time appoint. So it is by the as the Chief Justice of India will decide with the approval of the President, right? Question number 6. To whom can the case of dispute in the election of the President be referred? The Chief Election Commissioner, the Parliament, Supreme Court of India, Election Commission, or the Vice President. The answer to this is option C, that is the Supreme Court of India. Matters relating to or connected with the election of the President or Vice President. So it is the same provision for both President and Vice President. All doubts and disputes arising out of or in connection with the elections of the President or Vice President shall be inquired into and decided by the Supreme Court, whose decision shall be final. So these disputes are decided by the Supreme Court, and the decision the Supreme Court gives, they are the final decision. It is the final decision. If the election of a person as president or the vice president is declared as void by the Supreme Court, acts done by him in the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of the office of the president or vice president, as the case may be, on or before the date of the decision of the Supreme Court, shall not be invalidated by the reason of the declaration. So what this clause means, that supposingly the election of the president or the vice president has been declared void by the Supreme Court, but all the actions, all the functions, all the duties that were performed by the president or the vice president, as the case may be, till the date of the decision of the Supreme Court, they will not be void. They will not become void. They will not be invalidated just by the reason of that their election has been declared as void. Whatever acts they have done, they will not be invalidated and they will not be declared as void. Right? Let's move on to question number 7. Which of the following type of bills can become law despite the disapproval of Rajya Sabha? Is it a non-money bill, all types of bill, money bills, amendment bill, or ordinary bill? The answer is money bills. The answer is option C. So a money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha with the recommendation of the President. When it is passed by Lok Sabha, it goes to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has 14 days time period. Either it can accept it as it is, or the Rajya Sabha can send it back to the Lok Sabha with or without recommendations. But the Lok Sabha is not bound to accept those recommendations, and after the lapse of 14 days, it is deemed as if that the Rajya Sabha has approved that bill, has passed that bill, and then it goes to the President for his assent. Right? So Rajya Sabha cannot amend or reject a money bill. It should return the bill to the Lok Sabha within 14 days, either with recommendations or without recommendations. If the Rajya Sabha does not return the bill to the Lok Sabha within 14 days, the bill is deemed to be passed. by both the houses in the form originally passed by the Lok Sabha. In cases of ordinary bill, constitutional amendment bill and financial bill, Rajya Sabha enjoys equal status with Lok Sabha regarding the introduction and passage of the bill. It is only in case of the money bill, right? Question number 8. If the Parliament passes a law which is against the Constitution, it can be declared as unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and the High Court, the President, Chief Justice of India, a bench of High Court judges or the High Court. The answer is Supreme Court and High Court. The power of judicial review is vested with the Supreme Court and the High Court. Let's read it. If any law is found ultra-vires to the provision of the Constitution, then that law can be declared unconstitutional or illegal by the judiciary. It will be declared illegal or unconstitutional by the judiciary. The power of judicial review is conferred to the Supreme Court and the High Court. So if any law goes beyond the scope of the Constitution, they can be declared as void. Question number 9. The total number of ministers, including the Prime Minister, in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed what percent? The answer is 15%. So, the number of ministers, including the Prime Minister, in the Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of the members of the Lok Sabha. Answer is option B. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President and other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. So who appoints the Prime Minister? It is the President. And who appoints the other ministers of the Council? It is also the President, but on the advice of the Prime Minister. The total number of ministers, including the Prime Minister in the Council of Ministers, shall not exceed 15% of the total number of the members of the House of People. So it will not exceed what? It will not exceed 15% of the members of the Lok Sabha. The ministers shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. The Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of People. They are collectively responsible to the House of People. Before a minister enters upon his office, the President shall administer to him the oaths of office and the secrecy according to forms set out for the purpose in the 3rd schedule. So who administers oath? It is the President, right? And collectively the Council of Ministers, they are responsible to the Lok Sabha. The answer was 15%, right? Question number 10. What is the qualification to be a member of the Parliament? The answer is option A. It is 30 years if in the case of Rajya Sabha and it is 25 years in case of the Lok Sabha. Qualifications of member. A person shall not be qualified to be chosen to fill a seat in the Parliament unless he is a citizen of India and makes and subscribe before some person authorized in that behalf by the Election Commission. So first of all, that he must be a citizen of India, and who will administer the oath to them? It will be some person appointed by the Election Commission. An oath of affirmation according to the form set out for the purpose in the 3rd schedule. B is in the case of seat in the Council of States, in the case of Rajya Sabha, not less than 30 years of age, and in case of the seat in the Lok Sabha, not less than 25 years of age, right? Possesses such other qualification as may be prescribed in behalf by or under any law made by the Parliament. So as the Parliament may deem fit. Next question, question number 11. Who appoints the governor of the state? Okay, so the governor of a state is appointed by who? The answer is President. So President, answer B. There shall be a governor for each state, provided that nothing in this article shall prevent the appointment of the same person as governor for 2 or more states. So one person can be a governor for 2 or more states, right? So there shall be a governor for each state. Appointment of governor. The governor of the state shall be appointed by the President by warrant under his hand and seal. So who appoints the governor? It is the President. Question number 12. How many Indian states have a bicameral legislature? So how many Indian states have 2 houses in their legislature? Is it 7, 6, 8, 9 or 5? The answer is B, 6. So there are 6 states which have bicameral legislature. That means they have a legislative assembly and they also have a legislative council, right? Let's read it. For every state there shall be a legislature which shall consist of a governor, and in case of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh, 2 houses. So in rest of the states it is only 1 house, but in case of Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Uttar Pradesh, there are 2 houses in their legislature, right? In other states only 1 house. Where there are 2 houses of the legislature, where there are 2 houses of the legislature of a state, one shall be known as the legislative council. So one will be known as the legislative council. So these all 6 states have a legislative council and the other as legislative assembly. And where there is only 1 house, it shall be known as the legislative assembly. So that means every state has a legislative assembly, but only 6 states have a legislative council. Right? So their legislature will consist of either 1 house or 2 house as the case may be, and the governor. Question number 13. The retirement age of the High Court judge is. So what is the retirement age of a judge of the High Court? The answer is option D, is lower than the retirement age of the Supreme Court. It is lower than the retirement age of the Supreme Court. Retirement age of the High Court judge is 62 years and retirement age of the judge of the Supreme Court is 65 years. Right? So that is why the answer is the retirement age of the High Court judge is lower than the retirement age of the Supreme Court judge. Question number 14. The Chief Minister of a Union Territory where such setup exists is appointed by who? The answer is option A, the President. So the President, wherever there is a Chief Minister in a UT, he will be appointed by the President. The Chief Minister of the Union Territory shall be appointed by President and other ministers shall be appointed by the President on advice of the Chief Ministers. The minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. Right? So who will appoint them? The President. Question last, 15th. Part 6 and Chapter 6 of the Indian Constitution dealing with the subordinate courts they are mentioned in Articles 233 to 237. Right? They are mentioned in Articles 233 to 237. The provisions related to the subordinate courts are provided in the 6th part of Indian Constitution. Article 233 to 237 deals with the subordinate courts. Now, question for achievers. According to Article 233 of the Constitution, a district judge is appointed by, is it the Chief Justice of the State High Court, Governor of the State, Chief Minister of the State, Speaker, or the Advocate General? So you have to comment the right answer below. That was all for today. We have done the second lecture on Constitution as well. I hope it was a helpful session for you. For more such videos, please subscribe to the channel EduTap. Thank you.